The 2025 Texas Tech football recruiting class has the potential to be one of the best in program history, and it could land in the top 25 once again. In today's video, we'll look at their current rankings across the country and also within the Big 12 and the early commitments and where they stand after a recent rankings update, including a now 4-star wide receiver. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Back to 12 podcast. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video if you want more Texas Tech football recruiting news here on the channel. And hey, Texas Tech men's basketball, their season's not done, but portal season, it's going to start up here pretty quick. So if you want to stay in the know, 100% free on Texas Tech football recruiting and Texas Tech men's basketball recruiting, simply like the video and hit that subscribe button. All right, let's get into the Texas Tech football recruiting quick notes here. As it stands of February 28th, there are 9 players currently in the class of 2025 that are currently committed to the Red Raiders. It's a balanced approach. As we all know, though, if you pay attention to Texas Tech football recruiting just in the slightest, you know that they like their athletes in those 2 sports stars, 3 sports stars, and so on and so forth, right? If you're fast, they're going to go after you. That's what James Blanchard and crew do, and this class is no different. As it stands right now, Texas Tech actually has 3 athletes committed, but the prize jewels so far of this recruiting class are, well, the quarterback and wide receiver spots. And you got Lloyd Jones III and wide receiver Tristian Gentry, who now, according to a couple of recruiting sites, is actually a 4-star wide receiver. Now, before we get into where Texas Tech ranks for the 2025 class, one more time, I know I just said it, but if you want to stay in the know, 100% free, do these 3 things for me. Like the video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell if you want to know, well, more about Texas Tech football recruiting and also Texas Tech men's basketball recruiting. 100% free on the most engaging community of Texas Tech fans here on YouTube in the Back to 12 podcast channel. All right, remember, this is as of February 28th, excuse me. This is going to change drastically, but early returns so far for Texas Tech, pretty damn good. All right, you can see them at the bottom of your screen right there, where the 2025 Texas Tech recruiting class team rankings are for each of the 3 major recruiting platforms. We'll start with 24/7 Sports. The Red Raiders rank as the 13th best class in the entire country, first in the Big 12 right now. On Rivals, this is the highest ranking you will see. They have the Red Raiders at 12th and first in the Big 12. On 3 has the Red Raiders in the top 20, 19th, second in the Big 12, only behind UCF. Now, you might be wondering, where do other Big 12 teams rank according to 24/7? Well, I've got you covered. I've got the top 10 Big 12 2025 recruiting class team ranks as of February 28th. They are on the bottom of your screen. You can see Texas Tech leads the way at 13th. UCF is at 20. Then Arizona State at 25. You got TCU at 30. Iowa State at 35. You've got Kansas at 43. Then you've got Cincinnati 47. That will round out the top 50. But then you got 8, 9, and 10 in the conference in terms of the current team rankings according to 24/7. Utah comes in at 54th. Oklahoma State 57th. And then West Virginia at 58. Now, let's be real about this. It won't likely land in the top 15, if we're being honest about it, in terms of the Texas Tech 2025 recruiting class for football. But it has an excellent chance to land in the top 25 once again. And the job that Joey McGuire and crew have done on the recruiting trail in terms of taking the initiative and going after prospects that haven't had that evaluation by some of these major recruiting sites, and other schools maybe lagging a little bit behind in terms of evaluating them, has really paid early dividends for the Red Raiders in terms of going out and securing those players' commitments and keeping them through signing day. You think of some of the guys in this previous class for Texas Tech that did that. Obviously, the one that comes to mind is Will Hammond in that regard, in the sense of you evaluated him early. He was literally a 0-star recruit at that point, ended as a high 4-star, but also was in the Elite 11 and one of the best high school quarterbacks in the country last year. Now he's in the Scarlet and Black and has the potential to be your future starting quarterback for years to come after Baron Morton leaves campus. But currently, right now, you think about what Texas Tech is doing, and the plan is just continuously working for the Red Raiders. And you have guys in the national media starting to take notice. You know, I watch D Lake Kick with Josh Patton. he's one of those guys that I think he's one of the best in the country. You look at Joel Klatt as well. Like, there's a lot of really, really good college football analysts out there with their podcasts and everything, giving high praise to the Red Raiders in the sense of the on-field success has been there somewhat. But you think with the coaches that they have on staff and the way that they have recruited, that Texas Tech is set to take that next step. And now 2025 is a long way away in terms of, signing day and everything like that. But Texas Tech, as it stands right now, is in a really, really good spot. Again, the two marquee guys currently, as it stands right now in this recruiting class, are Lloyd Jones III, the quarterback. And then you've got a guy where if you haven't seen his tape yet, you need to go watch it. Tristian Gentry is a bona fide stud. I loved watching the tape that I could find to him. And to be honest with you, it was his sophomore tape. I didn't even get to watch his junior tape yet, just a couple of limited highlights, but he's the real deal. He is now a 4-star according to multiple, and I mean multiple, recruiting services. You've also got Coach Stone's son on there, and Leighton Stone. And if you don't know who Coach Stone is, he's the soccer coach for Texas Tech. Then you've got Isaiah Robertson as well, one of the athletes. You've got Adams in there as a lengthy corner, a 6'1" corner who's going to put on some weight, probably end up around 185. Then you've got Isaiah Anderson as well, another athlete. TJ Tillman, a guy that could be a wide receiver for Texas Tech. Speedy guy, 6 foot 170. Then you've got another safety in there in Michael Henderson. They list him as a safety. He's played multiple positions in high school. But then you've also got a guy in Gawas that, he's one of those dudes where his production is kind of crazy for a linebacker at Flower Mound already. A 6'1" guy, 215, just could be one of those guys that Joey McGuire and crew rotate into that really loaded now linebacker room for Texas Tech. But as it stands right now, you've got 9 commitments. Again, very early on. Spring ball hasn't even started yet for the Red Raiders, but it will here in the not too distant future. But you look at some of these rankings updates for the Red Raiders, and they're big deal. Some of them are very, very big in terms of what Texas Tech has going on, in the sense of, okay, you look at what Texas Tech has done previously in the couple of years of Joey McGuire, and now you think about what they're continuing to do. This wasn't just a blip on the radar, right? Like, they have a chance to year in and year out be arguably the best recruiting team in the Big 12. And the reason I say that is because Colorado doesn't take high school recruiting seriously in the slightest, but they do in the portal. They just seemingly always add guys in the portal. But from a Texas Tech standpoint, you really have to like where you're at. Again, Jones and Gentry, those are 2 4-star guys according to Rivals and On3, and then you've got them as high 3 stars over on 24/7. It really just depends where you look. But Texas Tech, once again, got in early on these guys and has a chance to really sustain themselves with another top 25 class and continue to reload moving forward into the future. Again, you see it at the bottom of the screen right there. If you want to stay in the know on Texas Tech football all year long, hey, we'll have some position previews here going into spring. We'll talk about recruiting as well in terms of the latest news there and everything in between. Lyle isn't too far away from hopping back on here and talking everything Texas Tech football with me. I know y'all enjoy those episodes. So you're going to want to stay in the know. And the easiest way to do that is by doing these 3 simple steps: liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and turning on that notification bell so you can stay in the know right here on the most subscribed to Texas Tech YouTube channel for the fans. Well, you know what I'm talking about. It's the Back to 12 podcast channel.